Once again, hi everyone. This is a simple video on how to build a very easy log for your BSI Simian automation system using Natural Grid. Now this is about the simplest way I know to build a log other than building it manually right in the computer itself. So I'm going to bring up this Natural Grid up here. This is a little program that sells for about less than $100, actually to be exact, $99. When you bring that up, the first thing you see is this one is set for WJPP. I won't go through the setup of setting Natural Grid. I just want to give you a general idea how easy it is to build a log for EWTN, and this one we'll make it the domestic EWTN, which is the one that more stations use. So we go over to File, open up File, open up Clock. Let's do the clock deal. And we're going to build a new clock. So we'll go over here and it'll say new clock. And we're going to give it a name. Now I've got so many clocks in here, so we're going to call this a Z3 clock. So you only have 2 letters to work with in this program. And it's going to be called IDs only. It's going to for the domestic EWTN domestic. Okay, so brand new clock. Here's where you start. So the first thing we do, and in a previous video I have already showed you about these command signs, but the @ sign says do this and do it immediately. So the very first thing on this line we're going to tell this log to do is tell it what it is. And this is going to be in the category version here, it's going to be a little drop down menu here, and it's going to be a comment. There's a little bit of a delay here because I'm doing it with dual mon. And in the description here, it's going to say a ID only. Oh. ID only domestic, DOMESTIC. Now I'm going to call it ID only domestic hour because we could build another clock which would be a classic hour. So the next event that's going to take place at the beginning of this hour is going to be a plus sign, and the plus sign means as soon as you execute this and tell me what is going on here, this is an ID only domestic hour, then I'm going to go and do my next event. Now in this particular event, what I do is we're using a audio science card in the computer for the BSI Simian program, which we think is the best way to do it. I'll do another video for you and show you how to do it a different way, but in this particular case, we're using the audio science card. So I say in the audio science card, EWTN domestic D on. So I built a cart in my computer program, and I'll show you how to do that in another video, but I put the command inside this cart that says EWTN D for domestic on. That's going to be an audio file. So we label it as audio file, and we're going to say over here that this is TURN as turns on MIXER number 1 EWTN DOMESTIC. So that's what that does. What we write in here has no effect on what goes on in the programming, but at least it tells you what they do. Now I want to change this. This is going to have to become a 00.00. The reason for that is that we're building this basic log, all basic logs start out at 00. When we insert them into the system, and I'll show you in a minute, it posts to any hour. Okay, so that's what's happening here. Then the next event is that it's going to turn EWTN domestic on at the top of the hour. Every hour we tell it to. The next thing we're going to do is say, okay, well, at 59:45, we're going to put an @ sign here for 59:45. Now we're going to make this 59.45. And I'm going to go over here and just put a command in here. This is a comment line again, and it's going to say the program is going to end. So we want to know that. Frequently in your stations, you get a lot of people have no idea what they're doing. It's really good to build a log so they can see exactly what's taking place. And you'll see this when I show you the log. So at 59:45, it's going to say, well, that's what's happening. The program is going to end. Then we're going to put in here a plus sign. And we'll make that 59:45. 59:45. And this will be EWTN D for domestic OFF. And that's another card I built to accomplish that. That will be an audio file. And that will say, again, I'll say TURNS, turns off, MIXER, number 1, EWTN DOMESTIC. So again, as I said, under the description, this has nothing to do with the operation of the system. It just tells you what's going on, and you'll see that in your log. Now that we've turned EWTN domestic off at 59:45, the next thing we want to do with the plus sign call this 59:45, 59.45, and this is going to be ID LEGAL. That's what I call my IDs. That's another cart, and that's going to be 15 seconds. And it's going to be audio. Station legal ID. That's what it's going to do. All the rest of this information here is not necessary. We don't want it there. It'll only clutter up our log when it prints out the log or when it inserts the log into the system. So bear with me as I eliminate these guys here. And then we'll review what we've done, and then I'll show you what we do with this. But the important thing is I'm showing you a very elementary way to build logs, and the reason, yeah, you could go in there and manually build. You say, well, I could save $100. I can build it manually. But what happens if you decide you want to run a classic hour at 3, 5, 7, 9, and 12? Well, then you're going to have to go in and build a classic log and copy it and paste it, and the opportunity to make mistakes are greatly enhanced. This deal here, once you've built this log, once you've built this one clock, and this one clock works just fine for you, you're in good shape. If it's going to work, once it runs one time and it works okay, it's going to run every time and work okay. So apologize for taking the time to get these things out of here, but we will. Now, you might think I have a slow computer. I'm actually using an Apple computer, but I'm doing this over the network on a computer that's not here. So it's that other end of this project is a little slow. Come on here. And we want to delete that. Okay, so let's review one more time. We have an @ sign at the beginning of this hour, whatever hour it may be. It says ID only domestic hour. Immediately thereafter, because there's a plus sign there, it's going to move on to EWTN on, domestic on, EWTND for domestic on. It's going to turn that mixer number 1 up, and the EWTN domestic satellite will start playing that hour, straight up and down at the top of the hour. When it gets around the 59:45, and every hour, almost 99% of all of the hours on EWTN absolutely, totally do end at 59:45. So we put a little comment line in here and an @ sign that says at that time and at that time only, switch over there, turn domestic off right there. It's going to turn the domestic channel off, and it's going to play that ID. There you go. Done. Now, we called this clock a Z3 clock. So we're going to assign it to a log. Now, I'm going to go down here to a log that I've already built and in this area, and it's called IDs only. This is an ID only log clock. Now, it has a Z1 clock in it right now. But I'm going to just click on here where it says day, and it's going to immediately paste it. And every day of the week, 7 days a week, this is exactly what's going to happen on this radio station. So let's close this out, and let's go to log. We're still in Natural Grid, and we're going to build a new log. Now, it's the name of the log that we're building from is IDs only, and this is Wednesday, September the 13th, 2017. Voila. There is the log. As it says up here, it's for Wednesday, September 13th, 2017, and this is what we did. And you can see, again, that we started out saying it's a domestic hour. We turn EWTN domestic on in that cart, EWTNDON, and then at 59:45 with the @ sign, we leave the program ends, and it turns the domestic off. It plays the legal ID, and bingo, at the beginning of the next hour, it starts up, and this is what happens for the entire log. And then all we need to do in order to put this into the automation system is export the log. So we hit export, and I've already programmed in where it's going. BSI 32 import. There's where it is. Convert it. And it put it in as 913. There it is at 2017. And it's as simple as that to build this log. And then you can do a variation of all sorts of different logs. And as I've said on many of my other videos, feel free to call me if you have a question about it, and I'll be happy to help you. There's no charge for me to give you a hand with that. Now I'm going to bring up a production version of this log. Okay, here we go. And there is the log as it looks in your automation system, and it will run exactly that way. So it's a very inexpensive way to do it, to build a log for EWTN in Natural Grid. Natural Grid program sells for $100, $99, and it's very reliable. It works really well. It does not give you a lot of flexibility. All you're going to do with this log is play some IDs at the top of every hour to keep the station legal, and you're going to go right back in to the normal EWTN domestic programming. The next video I do, I'll show you how to add in some carts in this program and add in some different clocks, because if you saw a previous video that I made, that video shows how EWTN operates on clocks and grids. So check clocks and grids, and you'll see what I'm talking about and how we're going to then build clocks from the grids. Thank you very much, and if you have any questions, please feel free to text me. Send me a text and say, give me a call, Ron, and my text number is 772-999-5555. 913-2209. You have a great day. Thanks for watching.